I want to keep discussing this with Matt Dos Santos. He's the legal director of the ACLU of Oregon. Pleasure to speak with you again, Matt. We've spoken before. We well understand the ACLU mission, right? It's to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties guaranteed to every person in our country. But I have to imagine what's happening there in Portland with these rallies is troubling for you.
That's right. The ACLU's mission is to defend the rights of everyone and every speaker. And that's true even in the wake of a tragic event like what happened here in Portland. And what we found so troubling by the mayor's statement was that he called for the revocation of these permits by the federal government without even pointing to any kind of specific instance of a real public safety concern. He did so based only on the content of the speech of these speakers. And we may think that's vile, but it's still protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah, the First Amendment protects almost all speech, including hate speech, which I know is particularly troubling to many. But we know there are limitations. For example, you can't yell fire when there isn't fire, or yell the word bomb when you're at an airport when there is not a bomb. You cannot threaten violence. There is a lot of gray area about when hate speech isn't protected.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that one of the things that was really troubling was when the mayor went out and said that hate speech was not protected by the Constitution. That's clearly incorrect. There's plenty of case law that supports that it is, but that the First Amendment is not absolute. But what we look for is a clear, concrete evidence of a clear threat of an imminent, immediate harm. When that happens, we want law enforcement to act to protect the public safety, but we want them to do it in a restrictive way, right? Where they identify the harm, they eliminate it if possible, and then allow the other peaceful protesters to go out and get their message heard.
But, I'm standing in front of you, or at least via Skype, Matt. I'm a woman of color. Do I not have the right to be protected from such hate speech?
That is such an important question that people are asking right now. And I think that if history is a lesson, once we go down that road, it's actually people of color and other religious minorities who are most impacted by these kinds of laws. For example, at the height of the civil rights era, the NAACP was fighting for its right to organize and speak in Mississippi when the Mississippi Supreme Court was prohibiting them from organizing and gathering. And then just recently, right, we've seen the rise of Donald Trump to the presidency, and him and his views, and some people in his cabinet have suggested that Black Lives Matter is a hate group. And so if we let the government decide what is and what isn't hate speech, today it might be Jeremy's group, but tomorrow it could be Black Lives Matter, and we think that that's wrong.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have you on again, and you can help us, Matt, sort of figure out what's the best way to counter such hate speech. It would be a great conversation to have. I appreciate your time. I appreciate all the gray area, but we also appreciate the work the ACLU is doing. So ahead here.